January 11th, and this is Robert Kesten, yes, and we are talking to Robert because we want to initiate a new project. Do you want to talk about it?
I would be happy to.
Okay, let's do it.
The project is taking human rights as defined by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was introduced to the United Nations by a committee headed by Eleanor Roosevelt in 1948, and get a song written that incorporates as much of that document as possible, and then introduce it globally around the world in a We Are the World fashion, but actually giving content to the song, because there are 30 articles in the Declaration, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that explain what's ours, that government doesn't have a right to take away and government can't give.
Now, where was this declaration written?
It was written mostly in New York
by
a committee that was formed by the United Nations in its earliest days following the Second World War, and Eleanor Roosevelt chaired that committee that introduced the Universal Declaration to the world.
Now, do you know how many countries were in that committee? Because I just feel that, like, if the country wasn't in that committee, they might have resentment.
You have to remember there weren't as many countries in 1948 as there are today.
That's true. So,
most of Africa was still under colonization, because many of those didn't get independence until the 1960s.
And later.
Later, but not too many later. And India was only becoming a country in around 1948.
This is when the British had a big world.
This is when the British were losing their big world.
Okay.
Because this is right after the Second World War.
Right.
So, although approximately 80 people either offered information, opinions, and consensus
in that document.
In the document.
Okay, so 80 people, does that mean 80 countries?
It may not mean 80 countries, but it could mean close to 80 countries
so
that were represented.
More than 50.
Oh, yes. But the key thing is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights doesn't come from any single nation or any single mentality. Because if you look at folk songs, if you look at lullabies, if you look at...
In every country,
you will see a quest for dignity.
And peace.
And peace and love and all of those things. So they're already there.
Yes.
And if you go back to the beginning of time, when human beings were first starting to live in any kind of format, whether it was family, whether it was tribes, whether it was communities, the way they did that was by forming rules and regulations that allowed them to live together.
Universal law.
Something like that, yes. But that was the beginning and the underpinnings of human rights. So when you hear the story of Moses, he was going to the promised land. When you hear the story of Martin Luther King, he had a dream. When you look at Gandhi, he had a vision of what the world would look like. The Dalai Lama, all of these people are speaking about what's inscribed in the Universal Declaration.
And why do you think, though, not the Dalai Lama, but the other 2 out of 3, look what happens to people like this who are preaching peace. They get assassinated.
Only some.
Often.
They're ahead of their times.
Yeah, so, like, do you think violence leads to peace? I don't. I mean, do you think that this could eliminate violence by joining the world together? I mean, I'm all for it. I think this is like where, like I said, where Live Aid stopped and where We Are the World stopped. This is like a new project to take those places to the next level.
Well, it's
and incorporate the world. And the internet wasn't like it is today.
Well, there was
back then.
I
mean, with Live Aid even, yeah.
But Live Aid was a long time ago.
I know.
You asked if violence can bring peace. It can, because like, for instance, inside your body, if anything foreign goes inside your body immediately takes care of that. It destroys that.
Inside your body. I thought you were saying some country that I never heard of. Inside your body.
Inside your body.
Inside your body.
I mean, also when it comes to violence and peace of balance, that's polarity. That's karma. That's cause and effect.
Funny, Karasu.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Kesten, I would like to read your energy.
My energy.
Yes, yeah.
When it comes, I need your birthday.
March 8th.
And we had someone March 9th today. I know.
Well, it's just
okay.
You had 213.
All right.
I know. They didn't even know it.
Basically, when it comes to your card, basically you are a person that like to pair up when you travel. Like to pair up with somebody when you travel. or like do actions, whatever like that.
He travels a lot,
and
he's been traveling to many countries for human rights.
And also, you display mastery. You display mastery and command. I mean, through command, and authority with action or movement, whatever like that. So basically, you be considered a king of spades. So basically, you're very demanding when it comes to movement. I mean, you basically it's going to be like this, whether you like it or not. But also with that, you also do a lot of partnerships when it comes to like your actions. When it comes to actions, like just now, what you're talking about.
It's all about partner.
Of course,
absolutely.
And that's your energy.
All right, so in execution-wise, how do you plan to execute this song? And how, I think you had mentioned that you would like every kindergarten classroom throughout the world to learn it, so like all the little kids worldwide would be...
Not only kids. I mean, the idea is to exactly what you said. It's the continuum of where We Are the World and Live Aid and all of those things have left off. But this time there's a certain content that will last forever because it is telling people what is rightfully theirs. In the United States, for example, we have the Declaration of Independence, where it says, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is the beginning words, to some extent, that you will find in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You have these things in the U.S. Constitution, which will be 225 years old this year. You have we the people. So one of the things that I like to talk about is too many people believe that our societies are constructed in the form of a pyramid, with the tiny little peak being...
The 1%?
With the tiny little peak being on top. Either the 1% or the president or the head of a corporation, whoever it is. The reality is that pyramids, where we live, are actually inverted pyramids, with the point being at the bottom. Because those people at the point are the people that we hire, the people that we elect, the people that we select in order to carry out our dreams and visions. So we have to stop thinking of presidents of the United States or heads of corporations or any of those kinds of individuals as leaders. What they are administrators. They're facilitators that are expected to carry out the mass message that's coming from people.
Now, do you think they agree?
It doesn't matter if they agree, and the example of that is Egypt and Tunisia and now Syria and Yemen. In all of these places, the people are saying, enough, we're not going to take it anymore.
So what was your take on Occupy Wall Street? Wasn't that like kind of a follow-up to all those countries? I hear that Occupation Wall Street came from like the Middle East.
Well, it didn't actually come from there. It was symbolically the same, but it wasn't emotionally or tangentially the same. And what the problem with Occupy is, in my opinion, is simply that they don't know what they're for, they only know what they're against.
Okay.
And what the Universal Declaration of Human Rights does, and this song hopefully will do, will give people to be for something rather than just be against something.
Now, this song, in my opinion, it's all about inclusion for everyone.
Absolutely.
So how can it be made that everyone can have a part in either writing it or being a part? Because I know a lot of musicians would want to be the writer. Like, what would be the best way for it to get the most for its buck? I mean, like, what is your vision as far as like how can it go the distance?
The most important thing, unfortunately, and maybe
you need somebody famous.
Well, you need or a number of people, or a number of sponsor. You need a sponsor, or you need people who are easily recognizable that will attract a certain amount of attention. That you need.
Now, do they have to have they have to have that mindset?
Certainly, otherwise they're not going to even be interested.
Right.
But then the idea is to take this, at least take the musical part, and then send it all over the world and ask artists, creators from all over the world to put it in their own words, so that it will be in every language that's out there. So that if since I don't know everybody's names, if Julio Iglesias or what's his son's name? Enrique Iglesias says, okay, I want to be a part of this in the English version, but I want to put it into Spanish. And or Shakira putting it into Spanish, or someone putting it into Portuguese, or someone putting it into Chinese, or someone putting it into Arabic.
Basically any different language.
Right, and that way this song then starts to permeate through those societies as well in their native tongue. So it keeps it from being owned by any one group of people or anyone else, because it always is open to creativity and to new ownership. And as far as how the song gets put together, it could be a coming together of a group of people. It could be coming together of one person who really has
you want to take the document, though, and
we want to keep it as close as possible, but we understand that 30 articles written without any rhymes,
the highlights,
make it a little bit difficult to do it in that manner. But someone who's really creative, and
tons of people.
Well, my vision, to some extent, and it's certainly not set in stone by any stretch of the imagination, is what Alicia Keys and Jay-Z did with New York.
Right.
That rap element could put a lot of that stuff down, because rap can just say, it doesn't have to rhyme necessarily, it just has to really carry that beat.
And then have that hook.
And then the hook part is in the song,
right,
which is the Alicia Keys part. So
right,
that's, to me, the ideal situation, because then it's also very easy to translate into lots of other languages.
Makes sense. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And they can also be done independently of each other, and they can be done together.
Right, exactly. All right, so is there any websites or anywhere that people can, like, watch it grow, or it's still in the beginning stage?
Well, there are numbers of places on Facebook that they can go to.
Okay.
The easiest one for me to remember is the Global Alliance of Human Rights Cities and Cores on Facebook. That's Global Alliance of Human Rights Cities and Cores. That's the easiest place. And if anybody wants to post something there for someone to get back in touch with them, that would be great. If someone reaches out to you.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to be involved in this, and I want to see it flourish. So, like, let's just make a tentative goal, short term, long term, and see where we can, so we can actually watch it and, set.
Well, there are two things. One is to have something ready to put into a video that could go viral by the summer.
Okay.
And then the other is then to have a huge celebration for it on December 10th, which will be the 64th anniversary, kicking off the 65th year anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Timeline.
And that's December 10th.
That's Harley's half birthday. My daughter's half birthday, December 10th. So, all right, so by the summer, you'd like to see a version of the song completed or the video already completed?
Ideally, the video completed so that we can take advantage of the summer to really promote, because that's a huge time of the year.
So where can one find this document so they can participate in possibly working on coming up with something, and they can submit something possibly?
The short version of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights can be found at pdhre.org, or they can contact me through that Facebook page, and I will if they give me an email, I will send it to them.
All right, so maybe we'll see what we can come up with, and maybe we could piece different people's things together. So I think the more people involved, I think the more it represents.
It does, but the other thing is too many cooks often spoil the brew, and that's a danger as well. And you want something that's really good that people will want to listen to.
Oh, it has to be really good.
And that people will learn from.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have a skeleton?
I
mean, we can't let you go up the show without a skeleton.
That's true. That is our little.
And besides, we have.
Okay, what is the definition of skeleton?
A little story something you may have done that your mother doesn't know, or some mistake you made that eventually turned into something really good.
We won't tell her. We won't tell her. We'll just keep it amongst us and them.
And them. Oh, God.
I mean, I know a few of your skeletons.
Yes, I'm sure you do, and I would really like to keep them secret.
No, I mean, when I was little.
You want, what did you used to
feed me out of.
That was once.
I remember it more than once.
Well, because your memory is skewed. But when she was very young,
old enough to walk and talk. Oh, maybe not.
I had a red barn, plastic red barn.
Oh, no.
And took it outside and mixed chocolate, I think, and bananas and probably some dirt, and then fed it to her.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And she thought it was quite good. So I don't know if
that's.
Yeah, it was. No, we're definitely bananas, and overripe bananas probably because they mushed very well.
All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put you out to.
Here, have some chocolate.
You're to
milk.
Wait a minute. Wow. Wait a minute. I said that you was an ace of spades, right?
No.
King of spades.
No. I mean, Ruth, you said you was born June 3rd, right?
Yeah.
Okay, June 3rd. Just like I said earlier, you were
I don't remember.
an ace. You were an ace of spades.
Oh, really? I was an ace of spades too.
And so is your brother. So basically,
we're both ace of spades.
Yeah.
No, you said I was king of spades.
You said you was
No. That's planet. Really? Wait, hold on. Wait a second.
Karasu.
What was your birthday again?
March 8th.
March 8th. Oh no, that's right. Yeah, you were too. So basically, okay. Give me 1 second, because I'm got everything. Okay.
Looking at the cheat sheet.
Oh, basically. All right.
We're good for time.
Oh, you guys, both you two desire love from each other.
Oh, well, isn't that the truth?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's
both
true.
And now we even have something to work on together.
Yeah, so we're going to make this flourish. Why not?
Wow.
We're going to do
So
it.
the important thing is that human rights is actually part of the human continuum. The continuum that started when human beings first landed on this planet. The first one was born, and all the way to where we are. And you know, one of the important things to realize, as people say, oh, these are terrible times, we have global warming, we have this, we have that, you have to remember where we were 50 and 100 years ago. And not one person on Earth today is worse off than their counterpart was 50 or 100 years ago.
There you go.
And
not one?
Not one. They may be as bad off as they were, but nobody is worse off.
Interesting.
And if you look at where women are today, if you look at where minorities are today, not only in the United States, but I'm talking globally, everybody is far better off
than they
were. Medicine, education, technology, all of those things. So that means we've climbed a lot of mountains to get where we are. But when we remember that there are that many mountains behind us, we know that the mountains that are in front of us are not nearly as hard to climb because our ancestors have already done so much before. So that gives us hope that we can maybe not get to the end and see that light at the end of the tunnel, but it means that every generation brings us a little bit closer.
Yes.
So all we can do is carry that torch to pass on to the people who come after us.
That sounds good. All right, well, touche. And let's come back and we'll talk about like this timeline of this project and make it happen.
There you go.
With kisses. Literally.
All right, we'll be back. One more guest on January 11th.